I say table, you say top. Table.
Top.
Table.
Top.
I say time, you say time. Time.
Time.
Time?
Time.
What time is it?
Time.
It's
tabletop time.
I'm Jazza.
I'm Dave.
And this is sort of an accidental collab. And it's kind of magical. So on my main channel, I've collaborated with Neil of Real Terrain Hobbies before. It was a delight. He blew my mind. And he approached us to ask for a little billboard design for a little diorama he's working. We basically charged him. We're like, this is our video now. It kind of turned into a reboot diorama a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is partially our fault for steamrolling in and being enthusiastic, which he was very welcoming.
We agreed, it was collaborative, that we would be making some miniatures to sort of add character and put some silhouettes of characters in there and maybe hint at some characters in the reboot universe.
How do we create character miniatures that represent real characters in our campaign in this diorama of a very specific setting?
Hero Forge!
Hero Forge?
Yeah.
You mean the sponsor of this video?
That's the one.
I have an example here of something you can accomplish in Hero Forge. Now, this has a little bit of custom work done to it. This was a gift from David to me, and it's the sweetest frigging present on the planet. This is the Tale Teller, a character I made an animation around that took 10 months and put my heart and soul into. It's one of my favorite things I've ever made. And as a Christmas present, Dave made a mini, and this was made mostly in Hero Forge with a little bit of custom sculpting, and it's exactly him. Like, how cool is that?
There was zero way that I could do this without Hero Forge because I couldn't create the base model or find anything remotely similar. So to be able to choose 90% of what I needed him to be and then just sort of sculpt on the beard and the cowl and modify one or two little things was perfect.
Even the base, like look at that, you got the little scroll, like all of that.
That's all just options in Hero Forge.
And if you don't have a 3D printer, you can order the miniatures through the website. They have fantastic quality 3D printing, and they also have cool options like you can get metal prints. So go check out Hero Forge, and we'll go into how we used Hero Forge in this video to make our characters. But we'll link in the description. They've got a bit of a promo going on. We'll put some of the details up on the screen and in the description, but I'm really grateful that they've sponsored this video. So tell us about some of the settings in Hero Forge, how you get those custom options. In fact, should we do that with you showing building some of these characters?
Yeah, I can talk about that. That sounds good.
Cool.
So the first one I made was a really generic citizen that's just kind of doing okay on the Ven. Like maybe they have a job at like a bar or something, but they could also be something duplicated and just represent a woman who's, you know, just got some casual clothes on with their phone and a backpack walking down the street. So after I made the first character, I went through and decided to make someone a little bit more characterful.
Yeah.
So I made this sort of destitute slummer down on their luck, you know, ragged, torn apart clothes.
Oh, I liked this guy though, the bouncer, because Neil actually requested this. He's like, I've got a bit of a nightclub thing happening.
So I kind of went with the like, he's like cracking or like adjusting his awkward cybernetic hand, which if you actually take a look into it, it required a little bit of work. Like this is one of those poses you can achieve through playing with the posing to get those hands. They recently added, I only found this when I went into Hero Forge this time, now that you can change all the hand positions. There's like 30 different positions of like open palm,
poses.
like
That's
you can
so cool.
everything. So after making the giant brawling bouncer, I thought I'd go the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So little slum kid. I ended up diving into the posing, going for a bit of a like thieving, running down an alleyway. And I actually went back later. I found that there was a spray can in the hand options.
Oh, no way.
So after I'd recorded this, I went back and just slapped a spray can in his hand, like he's just tagged something and then
so
ran on.
good.
So Neil told me that in his diorama, he's going to have a bar, like a club. That's what the bouncer was for. And we decided it would probably be appropriate for Seb to be just taking a moment and sitting in there and having a drink. So I dived into it and started trying to pose him looking quite suave, maybe having a conversation. And we had that Gatsby image of like the toast in our head. Yeah, so Seb was a whole bunch of fun. All right, so I started building Pro. I knew that Neil wanted him to be basically hacking something in an alleyway, like dirty hiding away, because he'd given some suggestions of what he might like. So I wanted to work within that. So the first thing I dived into is hoods. Can we grab a hood? And then I went into modern clothing and started playing with a hoodie. And there's a really good hoodie option. One thing I would love to see in the future is the ability to have a hoodie with the hood up So you can sort of see here how he's got the hood down, but he's also got a hood up because that's headgear.
Yeah.
So look, it wasn't an issue because I hid it. I actually put a backpack on him. So chucking that on him completely hid that little minor thing. So I was happy with that. And he had pajama pants for quite a while. But I then moved him on to having these sort of like dirty, crazy low-crotched 80s pants.
Yeah.
But I knew that didn't suit him standing up. But I knew he was kneeling down, and I had a feeling it would work. So as soon as I knelt him down,
good.
it actually worked. So, Eve. Hero Forge models are done in heroic scale. Some of the proportions, like the hands and the head, are slightly larger than life to allow you to capture and paint detail and expression on a really small model. What we wanted with Eve, though, was for her to fit that dainty and delicate size. I actually scaled her up to be 9 foot tall, and then we shrunk her down in the actual 3D print, because what this allowed it to do was get these really dainty and delicate proportions.
All right, so we started to get into that nitty gritty and get to the place where we were 90% there. We knew that the dress needed to be sculpted, and I'm a big fan of custom green stuff sculpting, so I volunteered for that. But then also the solution we had for the hands, which were almost there but not quite, was actually just to print her again but smaller. So I was shrinking her anyway to fit the scale of the other NPCs and Neil's diorama. Just by doing another version of her a bit smaller, just for the hands. I mean, I probably could have separated them. But...
Did you re-shrink her hands again?
Yeah.
You crazy man.
So the first batch is done. I have a gift for you, Dave.
I'm excited.
And I didn't do the cleanup.
Yeah, yay.
Yay! Have fun with that.
Oh, wow.
But how good do they turn out, right?
I love them.
All of that is there ready for you to do the NPC back. The pride and joy of this whole project is Eve, as far as our contributions go. So, Eve time. 2 Eves, so I had a backup, because even though it was pressed for time, I did the sculpting of the dress on basically the robot body you sent me on the prints that I had, and it was easier because I took her hands off, so I added her little dainty hands at the very end. But sculpting the dress with green stuff, I did that classic thing of mixing too much green stuff because she's very small and the dress really takes up very little room, and I didn't want to bulk her out, so I had all this leftover green stuff that I'd already mixed. But point is, after a lot of time and patience and effort, which I mean I say a lot, 2 hours.
That's pretty good.
2 hours, yeah.
I'll
wait for the
cannot wait to paint this.
Okay.
I can't wait to get the color in there and have the clear elements with the colored elements.
That turned out really cool.
Oh.
Now, because the resin is transparent, you can sort of see, on an angle, you can sort of see it's green if you're looking like through the dress or sleeves or neck or whatever.
I'm gonna fix
so we're
that.
going to want a gradient around it or something. Paint away, my friend. Good luck. I'll see you on the other side.
Okay, so it finally come time where I actually had my hands on our freshly 3D printed Eve Mini. Now, I will say, due to the nature of this collab, we needed to get this shipped to America.
We had
so
a day. We had one day.
One day. So, look, I kind of felt like this was an all-in on the poker table scenario. Either this was going to work the way we wanted it to work, or I wanted it to work, or it wasn't going to work. It would literally fall apart. So I grabbed one of the sort of misshapen test prints that we did have, and I started drilling into the bottom of its foot. You see, Eve has this like a plastic synthetic see-through frame, but she still has a robotic frame. That's how her limbs work. She doesn't just float on jelly. So I felt that it really needed to have some mechanics inside. So my plan was to drill up through the limbs and then fill the inside of the limbs with paint. So I started with this little hand drill with a 0.3mm bit, and it just was not biting. That left a Dremel.
You dremeled into these tiny 2mm wide legs.
I dremeled before I dived. No, wait, I did both at the same time. But hey, I went for it. I cleaned it up. I drilled straight down the elbows and straight up the legs with the Dremel. But we got there.
So good. So there's a few different experiments in this project. The first was the drilling, which, as you can see with the paint put inside, creates a solid visual inside. The second was alcohol inks, which I recommend Dave try out. So this was your first time using alcohol inks?
I thought it was very good for this kind of model, a transparent model. I used a ghost and kind of did some really rough blends on it just to get an idea of what we could pull off. What we really wanted was just to add a slight blue tone onto the transparent limbs. It cleaned up a bit of the fogginess that they seem to have, but it also gave it a really natural plastic hue to it. So this was the moment of, I don't know, terror.
It scares me watching it.
And the thing is, when the bit hit plastic, it starts to vibrate and shake from side to side. Once you're committed, you're committed. But once you're committed, it also was, Luke, you can see here, it buzzes off a few times, see? It was really rough on that elbow. But once you're in, it wasn't stressful. All right, with the model cleaned up, it was time to start applying base coats. And I must say this was, in a way, one of the most satisfying and yet stressful models I've ever painted, because it really felt like any mistake was critical. I laid down some darker skin base tones. What I was actually thinking here was, when you look at the skin from angles besides the angle they should be viewed from, I wanted to see a really deep, dark skin tone that would suggest sort of a thickness of material. So by laying down a darker skin color for the face, for example, when you look through the head from behind, it has this really deep, thick color rather than it just being the pale, pinky skin that I was going to end up with. So I did some gray layers on the dress. Once again, with the time pressure, I couldn't do a sort of an intricate blend, and painting on green stuff is not quite the same as painting on plastic or even printed resin. It has a texture to it that I find more difficult to paint on. I don't know how other people find it. But either way, I put down those gray highlights and then moved on to the most important thing, which was the blue trim that is originally seen in the concept art Jen drew of her character Eve. It was time to layer the skin. I really wanted to give her a kind of an artificial skin tone where she was pale to the point of, again, like a doll. Getting close to finishing the skin, I began to apply that really ghostly doll highlight. And once that was done, it was pretty much left to start the intricate details, such as the eyes and applying that blush to the skin. All right, so it was time to look back and sort of reflect on my model, and it was pretty much done, but something didn't really feel right. I knew in my heart that I needed to refine those translucent limbs and show off some of the capabilities that Eve is known for in our reboot series. And first and foremost is that her limbs are full of medical implements. She has IV lines for blood transfusion, medication, etc., all running throughout her, so lots of tubes and cables of bright colors. So I wanted to reflect that by painting little blue and red cabling all over the outside. It was tempted to go over the top with this, but I knew that the more paint I put on, the more we would detract from that transparency. So I just felt that I put enough of that cable effect on to kind of highlight what I was trying to go for.
So I had the pleasure of doing all the other bitsy miscellaneous characters, and we really wanted to approach this simply, and I tried to, but at the same time I couldn't hold myself back from adding more steps because I could just keep thinking of ways to make it cooler and work better in the environment we suspect Neil is making. So working from that primed black base coat, I started off with a white ink zenithal on all of the models just to give them all just that little bit of lighting from the top down, and originally we were just gonna do that, maybe add a tint of color, but I couldn't help myself, so I wanted to muck around with object source lighting. Particularly this guy with the cigar, I just saw the opportunity to have that lit and have his face with a little bit of red on it. Then I saw more opportunities for object source lighting, people holding phones near their faces and tablets, so I slapped those with a bit of a light blue glow, and then from there I wanted to tweak the zenithal. So to give it a bit more of a nighttime look, I gently as possible, gave them all a bit of a darker blue tint, both on the zenithal and the undercoat, which sort of gave it a nice gradient, but also lost a little bit of that lighting effect. So after I did that, I went through and added a bit more contrast to the lighting. First of all, to the source of the object source lighting by adding some white to the phones and tablets. And then I got a very soft, very small makeup brush and really got rid of a lot of paint on it. So it was a very, very faint dry brush, and in a mostly downwards direction, just gave it that little bit of texture in a top-down direction. And I actually actually noticed this was doing a lot. Last but not least, I went in with some of those final details with a small brush just to bring out some of that object source lighting, in particular with our cigar man, which I am so happy with how he turned out. He's my favorite, and I'm hoping that they're going to really fill that scene and complement the environment so that the attention that's put on Eve in the piece is going to be really well framed. And here we are, where it all started. We thought it would be fun to wrap up this video where the campaign started, that the whole cyberpunk thing is based on. Neil's awkward freeze face there is because he has sent us a preview of his creation. Let me just say, I have no idea what he's done, but I know we're in for a good time.
Yeah.
Let's give this a go.
Hey guys, how's it going? Neil here. Hey Rob, Jen, Dave, Jazza. How's it going, guys?
Good.
So yeah,
How good is
I'll show
it?
you the diorama here. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you to you guys for doing this collab. This is awesome. Super excited. I got your minis. I didn't put them in just yet. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. So there it is.
Whoa!
This is it here.
Look at that, the river.
Is that a bar?
And,
Yeah. That's so cool.
Look at the Eve. Look at the Eve
Let's
billboard.
see. So we got a lot of LEDs.
Oh my God.
Look at that. There's the Eve sign right
Yes. Oh
So, yeah,
yes,
that's
so much
really
yes.
awesome.
Yes.
there. And it looks so good. I'm
love
really,
that.
really happy with how that thing turned out.
Holy crap.
I actually
So
ended
good.
up making the housing in Blender and 3D printed that. And the same with the new U sign, which I'll show you in just a second here.
Look at the
so we got
water, look
canal
at-
in there.
I
It's
thought
not
that was his
exactly
table
Australian, that
reflecting.
kind of-
Holy crap.
I put that in there right at the beginning. And
the
but,
street
hey, I
lights.
think it works. I mean,
Oh my
here's
God.
the
Oh, it's the
slum
split
area
between the
there.
slums.
Yeah.
You can see we got some work to do
so
there. This is where Eve is going to be. And then we got the rooftop
That's where Sam's hanging out.
If there's like pockets of amazing
here.
stuff.
Lounge
So many
area
vignettes.
for the ultra rich folk, the well-to-do people. We got a lot of 3D printed tables and chairs and stuff in there. Anyway, so here's the
And the
new
billboard, I
sign. Are
see
you
the
ready?
billboard. Yes! Oh my
This
God!
looks so
It
good.
looks
lights up
so
well.
good.
It's like a silhouette of background.
Really happy with it.
Oh my God.
Happy that, we were able to get the lighting is all around the edges here, and it just lights up so nicely across.
Yes.
So perfectly even.
It's so good. Look
yeah.
at the trees.
There it
and
is.
The tree as well.
More LEDs, like I said, to go in.
Oh,
It's not
man.
completely done. I got another pour of water to do. That's why this border is still on. I'm pretty proud of this thing. I'm liking it. Hopefully you guys like it too.
I'm not even going to pixelate it. I'll just show it like how it is because it'll look so. Knowing how Neil makes his videos, it's going to look so much better on his channel. Yeah,
Well,
this video
you're
will be
also-
out. Go to Neil's channel.
Yeah.
You're in for such a treat.
And if you're watching
oh my
this,
God.
go and watch it so you can get more than 20% of the screen dedicated to it.
Yeah.
Because it deserves the whole screen dedicated to it.
It is also worth mentioning that Lockie helped design the stuff, so thank you so much for Lockie helping do that, really bring it to life. Neil, thank you so much for inviting us in to participate in that and for listening to the reboot campaign. Like he knows all about it and was
Yeah.
like can talk about
We
it.
were
Like,
watching his like halfway through the first
yeah,
video,
and you can
we
hear him
us in the
listen to
background.
you. We're like on his speakers.
Like, I hear Dave.
It's so good. Otherwise, for anyone watching this who's come over from Neil's channel, we really hope you've enjoyed our mini content. Tabletop Time was born in roleplay, and we have so much fun sinking our teeth into it. We are, as of recording this part of the collab, we're about to start chapter 11 of the reboot campaign. And it is meaty and fun and deep and gritty and amazing. Dave's a fantastic narrator. It's really fun for us to play in, and you're going to enjoy it if you go check it out. So we'll link to that in the description.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil. Oh my God. 3 rounds of applause and a standing ovation. Doesn't work when that. Anyway, all right. See you guys.